Absolutely. Here's a fully crafted, cinematic, emotionally charged story in first person, following your structure and tone. I've kept it tight, suspenseful, and vengeful, with punchy sentences, strategic pacing, and satisfying payoff. Title: The Gift They Didn't Want Me to Give. "You're outdated. We're done here," the CEO hissed. I replied quietly, "Understood." That was the moment the retirement trust activated its voting rights. By Monday morning, the board convened an emergency meeting. Who just fired the person who owns 76% of the shares? I leaned back in my chair, letting the memory settle like cold smoke in my lungs. Everything had begun the day she turned 18. My stepdaughter, smiling like she'd swallowed a snake, whispered, "The greatest gift for my birthday would be if you disappear from our family, forever." I had nodded. My new wife's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Her real dad will take it from here," she said. That phrase, soft, deliberate, was my first real clue. I should have felt the sting. I didn't. Not yet. I remembered the early days, the long drives, the small laughs over breakfast, the quiet moments when she would rest her head on my shoulder like I was someone she trusted. I had invested myself fully. I had believed in family. That trust became my weapon. The betrayal came not in a storm, but in whispers and calculated emissions. I noticed the slight shifts first: college fund statements never arriving, excuses about car repairs, a new therapist who seemed oddly aligned with her mother. The pieces didn't fit, until one day I saw the text: "Sell the house, cancel everything, make it hers alone, without him." I read it twice, then 3 times. The handwriting in the legal drafts confirmed it. They had plotted behind my back, orchestrating my erasure like a rehearsal I wasn't invited to. A cold calm settled over me. Pain became strategy. Hurt became precision. For months, I moved in silence. I watched, listened, recorded. Every meeting, every careless comment, every signature became a thread I could pull. I traced accounts, double-checked documents, mapped weaknesses in their alliances. They had underestimated me because I smiled too easily, because I appeared too composed. I bided my patience. Every morning I reminded myself of the plan. Every night I visualized their collapse. When I walked past them, I was a ghost, invisible, yet everywhere, observing. Execution began subtly. I signed over my shares, not to the company, not to them, but to the retirement trust, whose activation required only a single week's notice. I ensured all legalities were ironclad, binding. By the time Monday arrived, the board had no choice. They convened, flustered, trying to grasp a truth too large for their arrogance. The person they had tried to destroy was now the force controlling their fates. Then came the house, the ultimate stage. I sold it, wiped every account, canceled every promise they had made, as if I had never existed. But I left a mark. One room untouched, perfectly staged. A message they would find only when silence had set in. A single, detailed ledger of every secret, every misstep, every lie they had spun about me, annotated with dates, receipts, and photographic evidence. When they opened it, confusion turned to horror. My stepdaughter, who had wished me gone, saw how deeply I had known her betrayal. My wife's lips twitched, caught mid-smile, realizing too late that I had anticipated everything. I watched the fallout quietly from a distance. Friends turned away, partners withdrew. The financial advisors who had smiled at their schemes now approached me with hesitant reverence. They hadn't just lost control, they had lost the illusion of it. In that moment, I felt the sharp, clear satisfaction of justice, not vengeance for cruelty, but for the arrogance that underestimated me, for the pretense of family that tried to erase me. I walked through the empty halls of the house one last time before handing over the keys. The echo of my footsteps mingled with memories, bitter and sweet. I left nothing else. No note, no lingering explanation. My presence lingered in the ledger, in the quiet knowledge that the truth was finally undeniable. By the time they realized the depth of their failure, it was already too late. Legal bindings, financial control, the board's allegiance, every piece fell into place. They looked at each other, panic in their eyes, and I felt only calm. I hadn't raised my voice, I hadn't struck violently. I had orchestrated, maneuvered, and waited. I had turned betrayal into a weapon and wielded it with precision. And now, as I sit with my coffee, the city alive below me, I reflect on what I've learned. The greatest gift is not in revenge's fire, but in its quiet inevitability. They wanted me gone. I gave them something better, the truth of what happens when you underestimate the one you betray. I am still here. I am stronger, and they will never forget the lesson.